तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः. We are studying the Sri Ramakrishna's answer to the second question put by Master Masha. And then we have seen the importance of the placing of that second question. That first question is, sir, how to fix the mind in God? And Thakur has given 6 instructions or 6 things to be done if you want to fix the mind in God. And that set Master Masha as a to introspect himself, his life living, and he finds that the way he is living the life is impossible to carry out Thakur's instructions. But he wants to do that. And so he is asking this second question, that how to live in life so that we can follow what you have told us. Point number 1. Point number 2, I told one day that later on in this gospel, we shall see that Thakur is telling so and so. Thakur is telling so and so. So here, nobody else is there. So Thakur is telling Master Masha. Because we find certain things very difficult to be digested by a beginner. And though Master Masha is very much a beginner, Thakur has seen in him some very good signs of the spiritual potential inside. Though on the surface he appears not knowing much, but in the depth of his personality, Thakur has seen some spiritual potentials. Because 2 things we found there. One is vichar and Vedantic vichar. One thing. Secondly, we find that he is asking him to meditate without giving specific instructions for meditation. Later on we shall find that Thakur has taught him how to meditate on the formless aspect of God. But here in the first meeting he is telling him to meditate. So he expects, and Master has not asked question about that here. And about this vichar or discrimination, we will find several different types of discrimination discussed in these 4 questions. So that is a topic which Master Masha has caught. So now I am talking is that should we take it as Thakur's instruction for everybody? That is a question. And the answer is, throughout the gospel, Everybody is free to read. And so, everything is for everybody, but some things are specially for somebody. In this way, we can think that it is for us. That is how we read it. Now, yesterday, in the answer to the second question, I left one question unanswered. I posed a question and left it unanswered. Thakur is talking about maid servant in the rich man's house. Though he is talking to a male gentleman, Master Mashi. And this we must think of. And what does the maid servant do? She even, a maid servant in the house of a rich man performs all the household duties. A man also may do. But her thoughts are fixed on her own home in her native village. She brings up her master's children as if they were her own. She even speaks of them as my Rama or my Har. Here lies all the cracks. Normally, as a general rule, men do not have that faculty of feeling which women have. And though he says as if they are our own. So, this quality is present in a maid servant, that to call the master's children as her own. So this love or affection, making them my own, is easily, naturally available to a woman compared to a man, is very clear. And that is why a male member like Master Masha, Thakur is asking him about the maid servant. So that is the point. Now, we read it back, the answer to the second question. M. Amli, how ought we to live in the world? Master, do all your duties, but keep your mind on God. Live with all, with wife and children, father and mother, and serve them. Treat them as if they were very dear to you, but know in your heart of hearts that they do not belong to you. Do not. Heart of hearts and know is there, but we can add for emphasis that they do not belong to you at all. A maid servant in the house of a rich man performs all the household duties, but her thoughts are fixed on her own home in her native village. She brings up her master's children as if they were her own. She even speaks of them as my Rama or my Hari, but in her own mind, she knows very well that they do not belong to her at all. And for this, he has given another example, and that is also about the she tortoise. The tortoise moves about in the water, but can you guess where her thoughts are? There on the bank, where her eggs are lying. Do all your duties in the world, but keep your mind on God. That is possible, that he has shown through example of a tortoise, example of a maid servant. Now, new point. If you enter the world without first cultivating love for God, you will be entangled more and more. Now remember, he does not say that first realize God and enter the household. Nobody will do that. but cultivating love for God. So that is the important thing. Even before marriage or even before entering the responsibilities and the attachments of a family life, one has to cultivate love for God. Now, what is God and how love is to be cultivated? He has already told how to fix the mind on God, but here there is a question of love. So, take from the elementary, what we call the dualist point of view. God is the most important person in my life. God is the dearest person in my life. God is my own reality. You are proceeding further. Now, this is the theory. And in practice, what he told about fixing the mind on God. Take the name of God, repeat his glories, that will generate love of God, and then enter the world. So that is a new instruction. Now Master Maharaj is married and has children. So again, this instruction is very general for everybody. And when Master Maharaj has asked, so at this point he should carry that. Though he is already married, has children and has complications in the family life and has now come to us, Thakur. But it means two things. That those who are not yet married, so before marrying or going into the world, they should cultivate love of God. And secondly, Master Maharaj from this point onward should do that. If you enter the world without first cultivating love for God, you will be entangled more and more. Asakti, attachment, entangled, trapped, more and more. So gradually that goes on increasing. If you have cultivated love of God, then you can check it, limit it. Unless you love an higher object, you cannot give up your love for the lower object. This is Swami Vivekananda explained in his Bhakti Yoga. So if you already cultivate love of God, who is the most important person in the world and in your life, then you can control your love, which is attachment to different people in the home. You will be overwhelmed with its danger. Master Masha has already felt all those dangers. And unless we feel those dangers, this does not appeal to anyone. What is that? I will love God whenever necessary, whenever the occasion arises. I will tell some funny stories about common man. One girl, she married and she was a teacher and she retired or was about to retire. At that point, somebody asked her, "What will you do now?" She said, "Now I will join some bhajan mandal to spend my life." So till then she has not thought of bhajan mandal. And now she will join some bhajan mandal. So these are some ideas. I also found when I was in Chandigarh, on some people's request, we formed a forum for senior citizens. We had started a forum for youth, and then somebody suggested, why not for retired people? And I attended outside the ashram also some meetings of the forum of retired people. Now I found 2-3 types of people. Those people who have thought about God in their youth, they found it easy to adjust with their new life. One type of people. Second type of people, finding it very difficult to put the mind in God, because they have not thought in their young age. Third type of people, in Punjab at least I found, still romantic and entertaining themselves and others by singing romantic songs. So, that is getting more. You will be entangled more and more. You will be overwhelmed with its danger, its grief. Some master has felt that very much. Its sorrows. And the more you think of worldly things, the more you will be attached to them. That is their nature. When a subject thinks of objects, he gets entangled in them. Is the rule, psychological rule. Nobody can escape that. So if you have cultivated love of God, then it's a different thing. Then for this he gives beautiful examples. Of course, they are all belonging to the Indian tradition, but universal. First, rub your hands with oil and then break open the jackfruit. Jackfruit is a very common food item in Bengal and Kerala, coastal areas. So, otherwise, they will be smeared with its sticky milk. From the jackfruit, sticky liquid comes out, and that will catch the hands. So this is the simile. Then applying the simile, first secure the oil of divine love, and then set your hands on the duties of the world. So entangled more and more. So the duties of the world are like sticky things. And if you have cultivated love of God, it is like the oil. Beautiful examples, but has come. Huh? And what will follow? But certain things which he already told in answer to the first question. But one must go into solitude to attain this divine love. He has told how to fix the mind on God, that you have to go to solitude and think of God. So to attain the love of God, we have to go to solitude. When we are getting engaged, engrossed more and more, how can love of God rise? Example, to get butter from milk, you must let it set into curd in a secluded spot. Modern times, directly from the milk they take out butter. In our Belur Math, we had that. You must let it set into curd in a secluded spot. If it is too much disturbed, milk won't turn into curd. Now this word is curd. Huh? In America, there is no thing exactly equivalent to what we call curd. And they call curd generally for
Yogurt.
this chemical word is casein. This, what is the English word? Paneer or chana, some such thing they call curd. And equivalent to curd, it is called yogurt. But yogurt is different than the curd. There is some fermentation in yogurt. So, we have to understand curd is the approximately equivalent word. Let it set into curd in a secluded spot. Shall I tell something funny, humorous? In those days, 68, 70, that means 50 years back, no? When we were in the provisioners training center in Belur Math, things were not so ideal in food matters. So sometimes the curd would not set. So our Bandari Maharaj, our kitchen manager Maharaj, used to say, standing curd. Because in Bengali, we say the curd is set. The equivalent is curd is sat. So it is not sitting. So it is standing curd. Anyway. If it is too much disturbed, milk won't turn into curd. Next, you must put aside all other duties, sit in a quiet spot and churn the curd. Till the machines had come, this is the thing. Only then do you get better. Further, by meditating on God in solitude, now the word meditating has come. What is the Bengali? I should keep it open always. Same thing as it previously. That is, mane nirjane Ishwar chinta kurle. Further, by thinking of God in solitude, let us translate like this. Technically, it is not meditation. Further, by thinking of God in solitude. This is something very important. What happens? The mind acquires knowledge, dispassion, and devotion. Knowledge. What is knowledge? Change of consciousness is knowledge. We have already discussed that. That is developed when you think of God in solitude. And dispassion, vairagya. He has told many things about vairagya. But they are all possible when you think of God in solitude. And devotion. So you went to the forest to have devotion. And if you, in secluded place, thought of God, along with that devotion, knowledge will come and renunciation will come, dispassion and also devotion. So these three things seem to be important spiritually in Thakur's teaching. So knowledge is an essential part of devotion. and knowledge will support devotion. And equally important is dispassion. If you love God and love world, then it will not help you spiritually. But the very same mind goes downward if it dwells in the world. If it dwells in the world, it cannot cultivate devotion, Thakur told. But he is more strongly telling that if you keep it in the world, then it will go down. How? In the world, there is only one thought, woman and God. Desire for enjoyment and desire for means of enjoyment. That is the world. Only one thing in the world. So when you take the abstract part, we will understand that. Women means desire for enjoyment. Gold means desire for means of enjoyment. And this is there in the world. Take up any worldly life. Suppose there is a mathematician or a philosopher, artist. He is enjoying the objects. And he will require to sustain himself at least, or to purchase paints and brushes or deal with mathematics, will require money. So, means of enjoyment and enjoyment. That is the concept behind this woman and God. Now he extends some more simile. The world is water and the mind is milk. If you pour milk into water, they become one. You cannot find the pure milk anymore. But turn the milk into curd and churn it into butter, then when that butter is placed in water, it will float. So perfect example, if the mind is cultured, then it will float. So practice spiritual discipline in solitude and obtain the butter of knowledge and love. So now dispassion is dropped, but knowledge follows with love. Important. I remember one devotee or so-called devotee in Amritsar, professor of chemistry, addicted to gospel. But as soon as something with knowledge or discrimination, this is not for me, this is not for me, skip it. Anyway, but Thakur at every point is telling knowledge and love. Even if you keep that butter in the water of the world, the two will not mix. The butter will float. So butter is the mind. If devotion is cultivated in that mind, then that mind will float. That means remain unaffected by the attachments of the world. Float also means he will remain above. Together with this, you must practice discrimination. So discrimination was told in the answer to the first question, how to fix the mind in God, and now he repeats how to live in the world. We have not counted the points here. Like a maid servant. Then
Tortoise.
solitude. Ne?
Tortoise, huh? The she tortoise which lays eggs.
Huh?
Tortoise. Acha.
Solitude. Second is solitude. In between, cultivate love of God and then live in the world. Yes. And for that cultivation, love of God, solitude. Think of God in solitude. So the 3 points you have got. Together with this, you must practice discrimination. Together with this means not only discrimination. 1, 2, 3, 4. Together with this, practice discrimination. Because there are some people who only think women and gold is impermanent. Now, you find some difference?
Women and women.
Previously I told God is real, everything else is impermanent. Now link. Everything else means world. And what is in the world? Women and gold. So now he is giving more concrete example of this unreal or impermanent. We are attached to woman and gold, so they are impermanent. God is only permanent. Unless we think like that, how can we stop our desire for woman and gold? So this basic concept is very essential. And this will grow only when we discriminate, when we think like that in the mind. So point number 4. Women and gold is impermanent. God is the only eternal substance. Now, another type of discrimination, please note down. Discrimination first, Satya, Asatya, that is Nitya and Anitya. Now, second type of discrimination. What does a man get with money? So out of lust and gold, he has taken up gold. And he says, functional aspect, or what do we gain from that? You cannot, what does a man get with money? He knows the value. Not that without knowing the value he is talking. Food, clothes, and a dwelling place. They call these 3 as the basic needs of man. Food, clothes, and dwelling place. And for this money is all right. Nothing more. So, purpose of money is how to live smoothly in the world. You cannot realize God with itself. So this is a big thing in the Upanishads. Thakur has told it in plain language. You cannot get God with help of money. Therefore, money can never be the goal of life. So, this is the new way of discriminating. What is its final utility? And if that leads you to the aim of life, you ask the question, how to be the mind in God and how to develop love of God. So, you have to judge whether this thing helps me in that or not. It does help in food, drink, clothes and house. But in my aim of life, does it help me? It does not. So, therefore, money can never be the goal of life. Now you find worldly people, money is their goal of life. But because they do not know the goal of life. Now this involves the thought that God is the goal of life. Directly like that statement has not come up till now. But now, as involved, implied, Thakur has brought that. So, discrimination number 2. Utility from the point of view of love of God or realizing God. This is the process of discrimination. Do you understand? He has asked the question, do you understand? This is a new point. Then M. Yes, sir. I recently read a Sanskrit play called Prabodha Chandrodaya. What is the meaning of the title? Moon. Awakening. Prabodha. Awakening to the realities of life or awakening to the goal of life, and that is compared with the moonrise. So that is the name of the drama. It deals with discrimination, the drama. Now this is still another type of discrimination. And Thakur must have known that. So, Master, yes, discrimination about objects. That is the English translation. Vastu Vichar. Now this Vastu Vichar is not the Vedantic Vastu Vichar. Brahma alone is Vastu, nothing else is Vastu. This is third type of discrimination. First type, Sat Asat, Nitya Nitya. Second, utility in spiritual life. Third, outside of a thing and inside of a thing. Not the innermost thing which is God. Vastu Vichar means a thing, how it looks from outside, Vastu, and what is the inside. That is the thought. Yes, discrimination about objects. Consider what is there in money or in a beautiful body. Beautiful, attractive. Discriminate and you will find that even the body of a beautiful woman consists of bones, flesh, fat, and other disagreeable things. I knew that. In Bengali, the disagreeable things have been named by Thakur. Bones, flesh. Then one more thing is there here, fat. Bones, flesh, fat. Then excreta and urine. That is in the body. In the beautiful woman's body, inside these are these things. Why should a man give up God and direct his attention to such things? So, discrimination and connected with God. God is the most valuable thing in life. And we forget that to think of ordinary or filthy things inside, because from outside we feel it is beauty. So this is discrimination. How it appears from outside and what is inside. So, third type of discrimination. Why should a man forget God and direct his attention to such things? Why should a man give up God? Huh? Why should a man forget God for their sake? So many types of discrimination which I have seen. Now comes the third question. Thakur has hinted about realization of God, aim of life. Now, this was never there in Master Maharsh's mind when he came to Thakur. First he thought that unless I fix my mind in God, I will not be able to resist the onslaught of these worldly things. And for that I have to change my lifestyle. Now, a sort of hope arises. But because he has never experienced that, he comes as a doubt. Doubt involves desire. M. Is it possible to see God? Is it possible? That means seeing Thakur and hearing his words, he feels that it should be possible. But he has no experience of that. So is it possible? So this is the third question. Unless that thought is there, our struggle will not be genuine. Master, yes, certainly. So remove the doubt. Certainly God can be realized. Now, yes, no does not become the complete answer. What do you gain by that? Yes, assurance has come. But he repeats most of the things told under answer 1 and answer 2. Then you talk of realizing God, not emptily. Living in solitude now and then, repeating God's name and singing His glories and discriminating between the real and the unreal, these are the means to employ to see Him. That means, yes, it is possible, provided you do these things. And 3 things only as brought out from the previous discussions. That is solitude. Solitude was in both the answers. Repeating God's name and singing His glory was in the first answer, also in the second. And discrimination between the real and the unreal, this was common in 2 answers. And third also, it is repeated. These are the means to employ to see Him. Okay. Now comes the 4th question. And this is the most wonderful question. That means the M's inner being has been fully aroused by Thakur now. After getting reply to these 3 questions, the inner being has opened up and see the nature of that question. Under what condition does one see God? In Bengali, ki avastha te take darshan hoy. Avastha means condition. Maner avastha to. Condition of the mind, state of the mind. Now, what could be the other type of question? How many days I will have to japa to get God? Master Masha does not ask this question. What more sadhana than how many days of sadhana shall I do? So what a beautiful question is this. Look at it from the Vedantic point of view. God is our indwelling reality. And when the mind is prepared, God will manifest. This has gone deep in, so it shows Master's wonderful sanskar. Though at that point, they were not on the surface. But meeting Thakur and listening to Thakur's answers on these three questions, what has come out from him? He has gained. This is a most important question. That my mind has to change. Fix the mind in God, live in the world like this, and it is possible to realize God by doing these things. So by doing these things, God can be seen. But what should be the condition of the mind in which God can be seen? I will call this the profound question of spiritual life. How many? One person came to join at Nagpur, Chandigarh, and he asked me, how many days my mind will go to God? How do you live? Patanjali says, Tivra Samyega Namasanna. If your intensity is more, it is very near. Now the mind has to change. We have seen this in the Gita and all the scriptures. That mind has to change. And what should be the change in the mind? So that God appears there. So this one must remember, all the sadhakas, that according to science of God realization, call it by any name, there has to be a mental condition in which God will be manifested. He is our own being. So we don't have to purchase him from outside by paying so much money. He has already told that money you cannot purchase God. So this, I feel, is the profoundest question. It has come as a result of the answers to these three questions. Understood this point? Now Thakur's answer to this question. Master, cry to the Lord with an intensely yearning heart and you will certainly see him. So this condition of the mind is not theoretical. If that condition is achieved, some expression will come out. But if Master is asking for the condition, not what to do. So Thakur's answer should be taken in that light. If Thakur tells something to do, then that something to do will result in that condition. Cry to the Lord with an intensely yearning heart. So the heart should come into play, not only mind. And the heart should have yearning, and the heart should have intense yearning. And if intense yearning comes, it will express itself in weeping or crying. Then You will certainly see, because this is another important point. Very important point in spiritual life. Take any scripture, let us say Gita. After every 4 or 5 shlokas, a shloka of guarantee comes there. Now let us think of this. People in general think that science is an exact science, physical science. If you go to this place in such speed, you will reach there. Whatever causes you put, the effect is sure. And in religion, they feel everything is vague, you do not know anything. And it is here just the opposite. Just the opposite. What we have been thinking as the exact sciences up till now have been reduced to statistical sciences. I will give an example. They started sending rockets to the moon and then numbering. Now, Apollo. So, Apollo 13 was to be sent on 13th December, a particular year. And all the church fathers opposed it. Don't do. 13 is the most unlucky number in Christianity. Because Christ had 12 disciples, but they are never together. So when they found they are all together, they were very happy. And Christ told, you are happy now, but in this very night, one of you will get me caught simply because of some money. And that is what happened. And so they take 13 as the unluckiest number. To the extent I will tell you, the city of Chandigarh was planned by Corbusier, a French architect. And there is no 13th sector in Chandigarh. 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 12 and 14. And his assistant architect showed me that Chandigarh has become filled with 13. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then serpentine it goes. So 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 7 and 6 is 13. 8 and 5 is 13. 11 and 2 is 13. Then at 11 it again changes. No, 11 extension is 12. Now in opposite to 12, no 13, 14. So 14 and 12 is 26. All that series is multiple of 13. Then next, like that, 39. Then somewhere, same line it goes. So difference becomes 13. Anyway. So they said don't send and don't number this as 13. The scientists poo-pooed that idea, did not give ear to that idea. And they sent the Apollo 13 on December 13. And instead of going to the moon, it get drowned in the ocean. They would explain some point angle was different. Maybe. So, remember that science, now take medical science. Some disease, some doctor thinks of some medicine and gives that medicine to 100 patients. And if 85 get cured, he says this is the medicine. The other 15 might have died or the effect of medicine was not there. So is it not statistical? Where is the exactness in? I told one thing, I don't think we have discussed this. One of my friends was in America quite a number of years back. Meteorological science. Now, our country may not have developed that, but country like America. Now, the snow fell excessive some year. The broadcast next day was, though there has been excessive snowfall, the spring is on time. And next day, there was the record snowfall for that year. 1 or 2 days there was no forecast. Then, though there has been the record snowfall, the spring is on time. And next day, there was snowfall record of the century. For 1 week, then there was no broadcast. Now, why this happens? Daivam Chevatra Panchamam. That means, are we aware of all the factors which causes rain or which causes change of season? The meteorologists are more expert in postmortem. When the rainfall comes, yesterday there was a depression. Why you did not tell us that yesterday? So, physical sciences are not exact. They are statistical. Out of 10 times, one time the electron will jump. Which one time? We do not know. On the other hand, in the field of religion and spirituality, we are struggling with our mind only. Nothing outside can obstruct us. Now we are struggling with our own mind. So if you do this, you are certain to get this result. That is the guarantee. Repeated in all our scriptures. And that is what Thakur is saying here. First he said, yes, certainly. Cry to the Lord with an intensely yearning heart and you will certainly see Him. See Him, experience Him. Master has asked the question, what conditions does one see God? So he tells about that. Now, how much that intensity should be, that Thakur is giving an example. People shed a whole jug of tears for wife and children. They swim in tears for money. But who weeps for God? Cry to Him with a real cry. Then the master sang. This is another factor in Sri Ramakrishna's teaching. What he talks in prose, he sings. And the singing makes the teaching go deeper in the man's heart. We shall take it up tomorrow. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibiridhitam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadattatam Bhui Grunanti Ye Bhurida Jana. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.